What's up? How's it going? We're gonna go live for a little bit right here. I'm gonna be working on a sketch, and as we're working on the sketch, I'm gonna talk my way through it, and hopefully, we'll teach you some stuff as kind of we're going through this. Let me turn this other light on, but let's jump right into it. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to run through an exercise where what I'm actively trying to do is I'm trying to kind of like practice my tech by mixing it into something organic. So I think what was going through my mind was I'm gonna go into this, and this is like I'm thinking of like an orc because I want his lower jaw really big, but I want to integrate tech in there somehow. But a lot of this isn't thought out, right? This is just going to be a free flow kind of thing. So I'm adding stuff kind of from instinct a little bit, if that makes sense, right? Because there's some drawings and there's some sketches where you like completely work out everything in general, everything where things are going to be placed, where things are moving. This isn't one of those. This is more of an exercise for myself in my sketchbook, and I'm just trying to throw some tech into anything organic and see what kind of comes out, and that's it, right? Things are, that's pretty much the majority of it. Then I'll just kind of talk my way through it as we're doing this. I'm sticking these little lines over here, and I got some tubes over here on this side, but again, I guess some of it would be kind of leaching into his face a little bit, so I could probably have, maybe you could visibly see a wire over here. That could probably be it. And when I'm thinking like wire, I'm thinking maybe these wires are bundled up, very similar to kind of computer wires when they're, if you ever worked on computers like I used to, you have these areas that like they're stick to the motherboard or just stick to the computers in general. There's like a bunch of wires stuck together. So that's kind of what's going through my head as I'm drawing this shape. The majority of like tech, and I was working on tech the last few weeks here, and I want to go back and forth. I want to start working on like costumes and stuff like that and kind of put it on here, and that's kind of my ultimate goal, is to just kind of like go through this process, and whatever I'm working on, I'm just going to go live and talk about it, because I think that there's a lot of learning from osmosis, and that's something that okay, so let's look at the top of his head over here. So top of his head, I'm bouncing up here. I guess I could have a wire that goes way off over here. Something like that, right? The wires don't have the exact same design language, and I'm kind of doing that on purpose. I know sometimes I said stuff like, keep the exact same design language on everything, but you don't have to do that. Sometimes you want to make it look like, okay, this thing was rinky-dink. Maybe he was an experiment. Like in a laboratory, but like a downstairs laboratory where they're not funded that much or something like that. And, and they just had to work with rinky-dink parts, and not everything's going to match. That's kind of like what's off the top of my head. Maybe it'll be like a zombie, but he's got to be an orc because his jaw down here is way bigger than like a human's. And you're thinking what a miserable life it would be to be this dude, right? Because maybe he's like an undead kind of orc that was brought back with tech. I'm thinking of like there's like plates in his head right here. But yeah, so like, and this is kind of one of those stages where I'm thinking in my head like, okay, it's kind of a mess, right? So I'm trying to control the mess in a way and make it readable. Because when you're dealing with a lot of sketches in general, you tend to be kind of in that zone of like, I don't know what's going on, right? I don't know where I'm going. If you're doing just like a sketch, that's kind of what you're doing. You're toying with the ideas that you have. And that's a cool part about sketching, by the way, is when you're drawing, you're not only just toying with ideas that you have, you're kind of generating new ideas, which is kind of something I don't hear talked about a lot. That's kind of like a big part of sketching, is kind of mixing around what's going on in your mind and seeing what comes out. Or you see parts of ideas that you like and you want to flesh out in different ways. But yeah, and then you can always like flesh out a story from there. Or, I'm not much of a storyteller. I'm more of a storyteller in like the visual sense, like visual storytelling. That's kind of, what I like to do. And I think it's fun. In order to visually storytell, though, you're gonna have to learn all the basics, right, of drawing in general. As far as like if you really want to control everything to the nth degree, you would have to like learn about like, okay, anatomically what's happening there. Okay, cool. How would that fit in here? Okay, cool. And like, oh, okay, I want to take a step back, so I'm going to dissect this, or all that stuff requires learning like anatomy, learning like visual perspective, structure, all that hoopla, which everybody talks about that like it's bad. Like learning that stuff is super fun sometimes. I think it's pretty tough in the beginning to learn all the basics of like anatomy and like all that stuff. And it's funny too, even like YouTube channels that say it'll be fun, we'll be fun, like no, they're not. No, it's not, bro. I mean, it's definitely fun if you're interested in it. It kind of like you want to get interested in it, but they'll almost always present it the same way, and it is fascinating. And but I was always like watching these videos and I'm like, dude, like that's okay. I haven't seen anybody blow my mind the way they taught like anatomy or anything, honestly. A lot of it's going to be internal. A lot of it's going to be from your self-motivation, from, hey, do you really find this stuff cool? Do you find it cool to learn anatomy? If you do, you're going to find anything cool. Like, I mean, some of these channels like, God, who was it? I don't remember who it was, but it's one of those dudes that I guess I'm taking from that, right? You just sit there and you watch someone teach a lesson. And I remember watching this lesson. It's just paper and pen. And I'm like, this is good. Like when you're into it, it's fascinating. And if you're not into it, I don't know how many bells and whistles are going to make it that entertaining. I mean, I guess it can, of course. But if you really want to learn how to do it, you're really going to have to like dive in and sit down. And, again, everybody describes it as boring, but I think it's exciting, right? I think it's super exciting. You're like, wow, that is so fascinating. The deltoid goes over here. Something I've never talked about, and I don't know. I don't think I'm going to put it in my lesson right off the bat, because I'm creating a program right now to put on my website. But I'll talk about it here more later when I actually have it out. But I'm putting like just a simple video process of like how to draw whatever you want out of your head. And I'm not going to put, maybe later I will though, but because it's not necessary, is the muscles of the face, right? Like when you look at this kind of guy, do I really have to learn about the muscles of the face? Kinda. Like there's the temporalis over here, but that's all screwed up right here. There is what else is there? Yeah, there's a couple of little muscles you can learn, but I just don't think it's necessary. That's if you're really hardcore. You just gotta have to know what they look like when they move, and then you got those expressions, down. So that's kind of the cool part about it. Okay, let's pull down here. His mouth is open. So let's just say his mouth is open right here. What would I do over here? I guess his tongue would be in there, right? You want him to talk a little, maybe not. So his tongue's over here. Also, his tongue is not going to be fancy. I was going to give him like a fork tongue, but I'm like, why? It's just too much, right? There's too many physical attributes. He's already got gigantic, these are big tusks, I'm thinking, very similar to like an orc. That's what I'm thinking, like he is an orc maybe, captured or something. But when you're doing stuff like this, oh man, I just saw Peter Hahn's sketchbook. Oh man, that guy's amazing. If you guys haven't seen that guy's so good. That guy's like my hero there, Peter Hahn. I watched his sketchbook stuff, and I'm like, dude, I want to do stuff like that one day. But say, I pinpoint my weaknesses when I see him draw, and I'm like, dang, like my poses, like my action poses for characters, they're not that good. I gotta work on that. And a lot of that is like filling your visual memory. But I just heard about a concept in animation called, I think, where you break the joints. I've never heard that because I've never been super into animation. And I think when you break the joints, I guess I can't really show it. But like basically when a character like throws a punch and his leg goes backwards, you kind of make it hyperextend a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to try to describe it, through my talking here, but you basically break the joints is to make it look, thank you for the hearts, by the way. I appreciate it. But basically when you break the joints on like characters, when they're throwing a punch, let's say you bend their knee back a little bit further. I don't know how to say it, man. I'll teach it one day here. Okay. Now that I learned it, I'm going to teach it. But Basically, you're just bending the joints to make it look more action-packed and stuff like that, even though it's not physically possible for them to do it that way. What is that? The little thing of like the little thing. Okay, let's go in here now. Let's do the bottom teeth. And we want to make it look like it's out of the same organism, right? Those teeth. So these teeth got to match the upper teeth a little. I don't want to, make them look like a totally different character all of a sudden. Like make all of them sharp down here. Ready? Over here. Just kind of going down. I'm sure I'll have some chipped teeth over here, right? This character looks screwed up. Maybe they went to like a burial ground over in like an orc burial ground. They tried to zombify him and wake him up or something. Oh, thanks so much, man. Thanks so much, Bronx. I appreciate it. But yeah. And then so let's look in the mouth here. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go to the mouth. So he's probably not gonna have teeth going along the side. I guess he might. God, so how would his teeth look like if he's got these huge tusks over here? See, it's kind of like you're working out ideas, right? As this is what sketching. This is one form of sketching, right? You're just going off of instinct, and you're like, how would that work? How would that work? I guess he would have like a little row of teeth over here on the side, even though he's got those tusks there. He might. Yeah, there you go. And I'm just kind of placing them in willy-nilly. I'm not working that like, I'm just kind of placing them in. I'm not like thinking that hard. Because even though I am thinking, I'm not overthinking about stuff because I don't have to deliver this to like a producer or something, right? I'm just doing this for my sketchbook. And as I'm doing it, it works. Also, I posted on my main page. Go check that out. I haven't posted on the main page in a while. Okay, this looks like a dog ear. I got to change that. Let me see this. That tube right there looks like a big floppy dog ear. I want to draw the rest of that tube in. Hold on. See, sorry, it's gonna block for a second. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. Okay, something like that. Something like that over there, and let's just make this tube a little bit. Yeah, I have to. Sorry, just for a second. Thank you for the likes, by the way. I appreciate it. All right. I don't want to make that tube all with this texture either right there. See this kind of thing going on? I'm just going to leave it as is. There's got to be one clean tube over here, and just to kind of change up, right? So what's our story here? I'm thinking, okay, some sort of orc graveyard. They go in, and they're like, okay, this is maybe, I don't know, mad scientist. And he's like, I need an orc body. We got to bring him back to life. We got to reanimate him. And he's using rinky-dink junk parts to bring him back to life. That's why none of the tech matches design language-wise, and that's kind of what we're thinking, right? Oh, thanks so much, Bronx. Oh, my God, thanks. What's it called? But yeah, so that's kind of like the story we're kind of like making up as we go along, and we could always adjust it. That's the story that's going on in my head. All right. Let's give it a little bit more shadow. Okay, let's make it a little punchier. So let's go into some more dark areas, into the nose over here. A little bit more punchy. Start, making it punchy. Some people find it really difficult because when you commit to some of these lines, it starts to get scary, right? I mean, I've already committed a lot, right? I'm using pen. But I understand committing is real. Like I have a friend who will not sketch in pen at all. Like he literally will not sketch in pen. And I'm like, dude, just get a scratch piece of paper. You don't have to like sketch in pen in your sketchbook. I get it. But dude, just grab paper then if you're going to do that. And he will not do it, man. And he draws really light as well on the paper with pencil. Some people are just really, they're tentative and like, I guess it's like this, I don't know, it's this fear of committing to certain lines and it's hard to get over. That's why I recommend everybody, if you guys draw at all, I recommend you to draw in pen. Like start sketching in pen. Do it on scratch paper. You don't have to do it in your sketchbook. I get it. In your sketchbook's scary. It can be totally scary to sketch in pen in your sketchbook. Yeah, because then you're like, dang, now I got to rip that page out if it sucks. So just be fully aware of what you're doing. I want to go live. See, I made that a little bit punchier right there, right? So that's a dark right there, dark image, dark shape. And then right there, just make it a little bit, because we're kind of going to throw a constellation of dark areas to kind of create a little more focus here, because then you're seeing the primary dark details, and then these little details look, I would say, better in my opinion by contrast. But maybe one over here along the inside of the eye. There is a point where you put way too much dark shapes, that there is a point where it starts to get wild there. So you have to kind of be careful with how you're doing it. And, oopsie daisy. Alrighty, go over here as well. So I want this side to match a little bit. Right? I guess, another thing that's going through my head is drawing Spawn for for years, because I used to love Spawn. I still like Spawn, don't get me wrong. But those first 100 issues of Spawn, got this kind of face in my psyche. He has such a cool design. And like I said, he's still cool. The last Spawn comic I bought was Spawn and Batman. I think that was 2 years ago it came out. There's another one. There's an old Spawn versus Batman comic, but there was okay, see, I want to match that over here. I could make it super amorphously asymmetrical, but I don't want to do that. I want to put it dark over here to kind of balance it out. But yeah, the last comic I got was from Spawn, was Spawn and Batman. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was really exciting. And yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, it was all right. It was cool. It was cool. But I think I bought the comic lately, the main Spawn comic, and I wasn't that big into the story. Although it might have been because I was lost, because it's been so long. All right, that's dark enough. Yeah, let's fill out this guy too. Let's make the I don't remember what that's called, but it's the edge of the iris. Give it a darker line. I don't remember what the name of it is. There's a name for it. If anybody knows the name of it, let me know. But it's kind of the edge of the iris over here. And it can be really thick. Some artists like drawing it really thick over here, this line, and then some do not. Again, it depends on what you're doing, what style you're doing. That's the point of sketching, right? You're trying to explore, find new stuff. But in my opinion, it's kind of hard to explore unless you have that foundation, right? Because some people try to explore right off the bat. I mean, you can explore just knowing a couple of things, don't get me wrong. But I know a friend of mine, and he doesn't really know anything about the basics of drawing. And he'll just explore, and it looks like these mashed potato people. And if he's just doing it for fun, I get it, absolutely. But he wants to do it as a career, and I'm like, dude, you're not gonna. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I'm like, because I don't say it to him, but you're not gonna be able to make a career out of that. You gotta learn the basics. You could learn them slowly too. You could learn them, practice them, have fun, go back every couple of days, and then just kind of keep working on other stuff. You don't have to be militant about it the way I was. I was like a nut bag. I was like a total nut. What do you do for work? Oh, right now right now I'm actually a freelance graphic designer. And then what's it called? That's the majority of what I do, really. Just that, and yeah, that's what I'm doing on right now. So I was working in a movie studio. I've done a bunch of t-shirt jobs. I was at a little game studio for a little bit. I was at I did a lot of stuff. My goal now is just to kind of take the time to improve, all these little things that I am not good at. I want to be like another, Kim Jong. Well, maybe Kim Jong-gi is kind of crazy, but I mean, as far as how good that guy is. But I want to be another guy like that who can sketch anything and everything. So I'm just kind of working on that while I'm a graphic designer. And yeah, good stuff. What's it called? I want to do, something I really want to do that I've never done, and because I never put effort behind, is I want to go sell at conventions again. I did it for a little bit, like little cons, where you take your own art, you put it on stickers, you do this stuff. I want to do that again. Sorry, I'm going to block for a second. I want to do that again. I know 2 or 3 people that live on that's all they do, and they live on that, convention artists. I would love to do that. I just don't. I have kind of some other priorities right now with graphic design, and then maybe once those priorities clear up, maybe in a year, I'll absolutely maybe put as much effort as I can behind doing this. This looks weird right here. I have to fix that. See, that looks like eyelashes. I don't like that. It's supposed to be a shadow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here, try to even it out with some shadow, similar shape over here on this side. But I'm not digging that. Let me see. Hold on. I gotta break this line up a little bit. Let me see. Maybe put some lines over here, and you're joining up some of these shadows, so you take the risk of straight up making it look like eyelashes. I'm trying not to. Dang, see, yeah, it's getting too eyelashy. Hold on. So I gotta connect it to other stuff over here to make it obvious. It's funny. You gotta hit the viewer over the head with it. It's gotta be obvious. It's not what I'm thinking. Like, I don't want to make it like right now. See, still looks like eyelashy. Okay, let me see. Maybe put some more darks under here, or maybe over here in this area. That would actually make it like you're telling the viewer, like, oh no, that shadow's similar to this shadow, and eyelashes don't grow in this area, right? So you're kind of balancing it out. And when you balance stuff like this, I don't know what you guys get gratification out of it when you guys draw. This is like my favorite thing ever. I love balancing out little detail in art. I love it. I think it's super fun. I'm like excited about it. I'm just pumped to do it. I know some people. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it for the heart. I know some people are more excited about the actual rendering of it, or I guess this is a rendering, huh? I kind of also, thank you for the share. I appreciate that. Some people also get excited about, well, it depends, right? What do you get excited about when you draw? Like, do you get excited about the drawing part? Like, I used to be a caricature artist. I know most of those guys are big on hard line art, exaggeration, right? Like, how are you going to change the face from real life? I know some people that are more animation people. They like, telling a story through, they don't really like shading that much, but they like, very, I would say, line drawing that is very effective in showing movement. I know a few guys like that, and they're always cool to hang out with. It's fun seeing the different things, right? People are into, and it's good to be around a bunch of different kinds of artists too, for that reason. Okay, see, that's starting to balance out. So now I'm putting this dark here, right? This dark shape. It's telling the viewer like, okay, this is just dark shadow. And that's what that is. As opposed to if it was just there, it looks like straight up like they got eyelashes. And we could throw more down here as well. And the thing is too, like you got to be, because we're doing this in pen, you got to be careful because so basically if you do something, and like I just did, I'm cursing myself to do that everywhere because the light source kind of has to make sense. So now I'm going to have to put some of that a little bit around, I wouldn't say everywhere, but a lot of parts of the drawing because you want it to make sense. Like it looks like it's within the same drawing because sometimes it doesn't, right? Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Sometimes when you put stuff in, it looks like it's two different drawings. I don't know if you guys have ever had that. Sometimes you're doing something, it's like, okay, that looks like it's totally out of a different picture because you rendered it differently and used different kind of whatever, or it's darker here. And that's kind of what those moments are for when you take a break and you just back off from it and then you come back, you're like, oh dang, I did not know I did that, or that looks like this, or something I haven't done in a long time. I haven't put it in a mirror. I don't know why I haven't needed that in a while. Have you guys ever heard that? Where you put your drawing, you put it up against a mirror. It's kind of like flipping it on a canvas digitally. You put it up against a mirror, and it gives you an idea of like what it looks like in reverse, and it kind of gives you a more, how do you say that? It gives you a more fresh eye view on what you're drawing, pretty much instantly too. I should try it again because to be honest, sometimes it's like eye-opening. Especially, I would say it's the best for, thanks for the likes, by the way. I would say it's the best for portraits. When you're working on portraits, I would say I would still do that. I just haven't done a portrait that much lately. But when you put a portrait in a mirror, right, when you look it up, you just see a lot of stuff right off the bat. Because you're usually kind of you're using the person as reference. So, that's kind of like hard to avoid. You're like, oh, dang, is that what everybody's saying? Sometimes you like flip the image. You're like, ew, like what happened? Oh, man. All right. Let's see. Let's give them a little bit more of a dark area here. I'm going to go soon because I think I've been here long enough. I'm only going to do these for like 20 minutes. I repost everything on Facebook, by the way. I don't remember if I put a link in there, in that link tree. I hope I did. But go check out. I repost most of the lives, not all of them. I repost most of the lives over there. You can always kind of replay them or see them. I try to like change the lighting and stuff like that. I try to like fix the lighting and stuff. Okay, hold on one second. I'm seeing something here that bugs me. Where's the eraser? Dang. Okay, I want to erase some of these pencil lines because they just kind of screw everything up. But whatever. I don't have an eraser with me. It is what it is. If you haven't ever used these, by the way, use these. These are Pilot High-Tech Cs. One of the best sketching pens on the planet. I mean, it's not ballpoint. Ballpoint, I have a different favorite. I think it's the Zebra. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. But for like a fountain pen like this, I think this is called fountain pen, right? We put it down and the ink just comes out of it. Unbelievably good. Like, my God, this thing is better than Microns, in my opinion. I think they're way better than Microns. And you can buy them in a pack on Amazon. So I should put a little freaking, what do you call it? I should put like a link on one of these videos at some point. But so good. So good. It's crazy. Alrighty. Anyways, that's kind of it for today. Maybe I'll work on this another time. I appreciate you watching. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. All right, we'll talk later, okay?